excited to introduce fast-growing international startup company Recharge. They produce personal energy devices, truly innovative health technologies that activate your body's own self-healing. Their powerful red light therapy device, FlexBeam, will be presented at Biohacking Congress in London on February 20th, 2020. Today I am joined by Recharge team, Christian, CEO, and Sarah, Communication Manager. Hello, guys.
Hi there.
Hi, Julia.
Christian, first of all, I'm curious to know what made you start Recharge?
Well, it's a sort of a long story. I have a background as being a biohacker, and I've been working in electronics and product development for the last 20 years. And I've been using sort of biohacking stuff for the last 10 years, I guess, something like that. And about 3 years ago, my partner, he's an engineer, he started trying to figure out something to help his wife. She had a problem. And to make a long story short kind of thing, after a while, he had made a few prototypes of this new device. It was using red light therapy, LEDs, which was basically very new on the market. And I had some friends that had some, serious issues. We tried it on them. They wanted to see if anything helped. And I saw like my cousin and two sort of close, I would say, friends have changes that was like crazy, like started walking and throwing away the crutch. And so that's basically, then I sort of looked at Arjen and I said, well, I think we have I think we should start a company. So that's about two years ago now.
Christian, is red light therapy a biohack?
I think it's a biohack, definitely. But it's probably maybe the first or the second biohack a biohacker starts with. Maybe bulletproof coffee and then red light. I think it was my second. So bulletproof coffee I heard about first. And on that podcast, they were putting red lights up their nose. So I think, what do you think, Sarah? I think it's pretty much one of the first biohacks people try.
Yeah, I think one of the things about hacking your environment, light is the biggest thing in your environment to hack. Yeah.
Do you use any other biohacks?
I do, I guess you can say a lot of biohacks, if you call them biohacks. I've been doing them for a while now, so I don't really look at them as biohacks. So I start my morning with a special, apple cider vinegar drink for adjusting my body's acidity. I have a bulletproof coffee. I do intermittent fasting in the morning, so I don't eat until lunch. I do different other meditation practices for my neuroplasticity. I spend at least 1 hour in the sun in the morning. Many people call that a biohack. But for me, it's just a kind of a morning. I have what you would call a very low carb diet. I guess that's pretty biohack. I'm careful with the blue lights in the evening. I try to try to not eat after 8-9 o'clock. So I follow a lot of these kind of basic. I'm not so much into the super techie quantified self stuff.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Sarah, what about you?
Yeah, I do. And I tend to biohack depending on where I am because I travel a lot. And so my environment's constantly changing. Now in England, where we've got different kind of environment to lovely sunny Thailand. So I do use a lot of light hacks because I do think that is the most important thing about the environment is to control your light or to at least try and maximize light exposure. So I do quite a lot of hacks. And now I'm here in England, I do use the red lights. I do try and maximize my time out in the sun, but of course it's difficult. It is very dark here, so I do supplement a lot with, particularly with red light. Yeah, I do.
Awesome. And how has biohacking influenced your business?
I think it was about 8 years ago when I first, like I said, I saw Dave Asprey on this super esoteric podcast about religion or some kind of conspiracy stuff. And that sort of prompted me to look into more of my nutrition. I had an issue with a gallbladder that I was living in China and the diet there was just crazy. And my gallbladder had to be removed. So that sort of propelled me into a vegan lifestyle because that was what the doctor said I had to eat. I had to eat like vegan food. So I was vegan for a while and then I got, into a lot of more health stuff. So I took some coaching stuff, and I really got into it. And I sort of I wanted to do business in this area, because all my other business was, I was making solar lamps, and we were making, adult toys and many other stuff, but not in this kind of business. And I really knew that if I could do something in the, biohacker or light or exercise, something like that. So it has been something I really actively worked on for the last, let's say, 2.5 years, like changing my website, going to different fairs, working with my friends in Denmark who has a sort of a business in wellness, and sort of pushing the awareness from my old sort of renewable industry and into the more, you can call it, biohacking stuff.
So, Christian, firstly, you had started your own biohacking practice, and now you are building business in this area. That is interesting. Tell me, please, what is red light therapy?
The technical term is photobiomodulation, which really means using light to modulate your biology. And it used to be called low-level laser therapy, or it can be called cold laser or low-level light, red light therapy. But it's basically a term for using light, specifically red and near-infrared light, to have some kind of physiological effect on the body. The body does have a lot of light receptors, and light receptors are enzymes or molecules that actually take light and then go through some kind of conformational change and exert an effect on the body. Red light therapy in particular is thought to act mainly on the mitochondria, and there's an enzyme in the mitochondria, cytochrome C oxidase, which is thought to be the main receptor for red light, and that mainly affects the mitochondria and how we produce energy. So what it really does in the body is, to cut a very long story short, is make the mitochondria better able to produce energy. Although that's probably not the only way. More and more research is being carried out, all the time about red light, and there's a lot of different ways that light interacts with the body. But that's the main documented way that, in particular, near-infrared light interacts with the body.
Good. How does it compare with the light from sun?
Well, the light from the sun is what we call full spectrum. So sunlight contains the full spectrum of electromagnetic light, from radio waves right up to gamma waves. So the sunlight contains all the visible light and ultraviolet and infrared. So what we're using is just a portion of the light that you would naturally get from the sun. So it's a very specific portion of sunlight, which is probably, red light starts at about 600 nanometers up to about 800 or 900 nanometers. So it's just using that portion of light that you would get in full spectrum sunlight.
Is there any history about this therapy?
Using light has a very, very long history. Even ancient Egyptians used to use light, and up until relatively recently, people used light for tuberculosis and solariums. Heliotherapy was a way of using sunlight. And then more recently, there's been a discovery of, in particular, red light. And one of the most famous stories in photobiomodulation is there was a chap in Hungary, a doctor, who was looking at mice and how red light affects tumours in mice. And what he found accidentally is, if you shine red light on the mice, actually the wounds healed quickly and the fur grew back. And that was really the start of looking at this therapeutic effect of red light. But since then, NASA have researched it. A lot of big researchers now all over the world are looking at red light therapy. So there's a huge history, and really it's kind of relatively recently that it's really taken off. The FDA approved it in about 2002, but prior to that, there was a lot of research. Other countries, particularly Russia and France, were using red light.
Who is doing research?
A lot of people who are doing the research. One of the main researchers is Dr. Hamblin, who's at Harvard University. He's written the book on red light therapy, and he's kind of one of the leading experts, but there's a lot of people doing research. There's probably over 3,000, almost 4,000 peer-reviewed studies on red light therapy. So there's a lot of research. Tina Karu, she's another very famous researcher. She's in Russia. She looks at, how far the light penetrates into the body. There's a lot of researchers I could name, and it's really becoming one of the really well-researched topics, especially in this kind of biohacking domain.
Sarah, and for what conditions does this magic red light work for?
Well, because because what you're really doing is activating the mitochondria where you make energy in the body, really any condition where you need more energy, you know, that you're going to benefit from that, which is almost every condition. So really what you're doing is you're enabling the body to heal itself rather than being a symptom-based therapy. So you're just activating the body's healing mechanisms. But it's well documented for wound healing, for pain, for increased testosterone, for hair growth. You know, it's a very extensive list of conditions that you can use red light therapy for.
Sarah, thank you for all this information. Red light is powerful. Christian, now question to you. I know that you are based in Thailand, and I would like to ask you, what is the beneficial about having headquarter in Thailand?
Yeah, that's a good question, of course, because we are, I think, now 14 different nationalities. So we're an international group of people, and we need to have our headquarters somewhere. So in Thailand, I was based in Thailand due to my son goes to school here. I used to live in China, and we moved here because my son was starting school. But Thailand has a pretty good foreign direct investment scheme. It's called BOI, or the Board of Investment. So we are part of that. That took the cost of operation down. It's cheaper to get visas. It's easier to get work visas for foreign experts, which is normally an issue if you're in the Far East, at least. Also in Europe, is how do you get, because normally a company like ours, we can't find everyone in the local vicinity. So I think, yeah, cost of operation through the BOI is very good. The climate, obviously, we are in a place where there's sunshine almost all year, so it's beautiful. We can go outside, it's beautiful. It's relatively close to the manufacturing base, like where you make all the plastic parts and the screws and the LCDs and all the stuff you need. So China is still the main supplier for parts, and we're, you know, very close to China.
Nice. And what is your plan for manufacturing of devices?
We have a two-step plan. So once again, my background is manufacturing. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. So we have a plan where we have established our own factory inside our office. So we have a large office building in Chiang Mai, and in the first floor we have installed a factory, and this is now certified by the British Standards Institute, which is the British version of SGS. So we are basically ISO 13485 medical device manufacturer approved. So we can do our own runs. So in-house, we can do production up to a few thousand pieces a month. And then that basically means that's called NPI, or new product introduction. So we do that in-house, which means we design all the work instructions. We do all the timing analysis and all the kind of Kanban stuff that we need in order to give it to a third-party manufacturer. Because we want to be able to manufacture both in Europe and in the US. And let's say for the Indian market, we want to be able to manufacture in India. So in order to do that, we control and perfect the way the assembly is done, and we have all the documentation for this. Every time study you need, we can just transfer it to a new place. So that's the idea. The first few thousand pieces we make in-house, and we transfer it to a professional third-party assembly.
Christian, who's your competitors? Does Recharge have competitors?
Yes, we have competitors. So yeah, however, we have competitors in the market. So there are other red light therapy products. Obviously, since I've heard of the technology before we started developing this, you have the Chinese stuff, that sort of the cheaper, unbranded, generic, not really medical device stuff. Then you have the push that has come in the last few years, the panels that you hang on the wall or hang on the door. So, you know, companies like Jube and several other companies basically making the similar kind of panel that you can hang on the door, and it's like a full body treatment. And those are pretty much our biggest competitors, I think. But it's also they have also been opening up the marketplace. So you can, you know, every biohacker has one of these or has done a promo video, or, you know, so I don't think there's anyone who follows any biohacker on YouTube or Instagram that has not, you know, either been bombarded or seen, Asprey and Greenfield and all these guys walking around with Juve. So I would say those are the competitors. It's a little bit different products. We have a more targeted, we can bring it. But yeah, and then you have Novo Thor, which is from England, which is like the Rolls Royce of laser therapy. But this is also extremely expensive and it's for clinics only.
Which markets do you see have the biggest growth potential for red light therapy?
We think pain, neuropathic pain, and going into the future also other types of neuropathic pain, but pain and issues resulting from blood flow, from poor circulation. I mean, Sarah, maybe you have some more, but in my mind, that's what I have seen most, remarkable results.
I also think there is a huge market in performance and sport and wellness and illness prevention. And further down the line, Recharge is going to look into mental health and dementia. I think there is a massive, massive market, but I think certainly for this initial launch that we're doing, we're looking mainly at the wellness market.
I know that you are going to start launch on Indiegogo next March. How do you think, what are benefits from crowdfunding a new product, and why did you choose exactly Indiegogo?
The classic benefits are they have a market share. They have about 1 million people that follow their platform. We can do A/B testing of color schemes and perks and styles, especially on the product, because we're going to manufacture. So we can do some different colors and see what people click on and what gets most attention. So I think it's a very, very good place to test strategy, especially when it comes to color and combinations. And then I think it's because red light therapy is a relatively, at least for consumers in this kind of price range, it's a relatively new product group. I think it matches well with Indiegogo. Indiegogo is sort of a platform that is known for early adopters and tech, but still, more holistic kind of audience. And of course, for our funding, we have pretty much ticked off most of the boxes now in the pitch deck and the coming discussions with the money people and the VCs. What we're missing is the actual traction. So for us to get in there and get a relatively quick traction will be a very, very important proof of concept, I think, for next round of financing.
Christian, I agree with you that traction is the best proof of concept, and I wish you good luck with that. Now, Sarah, tell us please about FlexBeam. What is different about the FlexBeam compared to other red light devices on the market?
I think the difference with FlexBeam is, firstly, you need to make sure you have the correct dose, because that's the most important thing with red light therapy. So with the FlexBeam, which makes it totally different to, we've talked about the panels that are on the wall, firstly is it contours around your body. Yeah, Christian's just going to demonstrate it. So that means that you're getting a very efficient and effective dose.
Nice.
Because if you think about red light and light in general, light travels in a straight line, So if you want light to contour around your body, you're going to have to bend the light to fit around your body. The light's not going to bend to you. So that's why we have this FlexBeam product, which is probably the main selling point of this product, is you can actually get a very efficient, effective dose exactly where you need it. And this also means you can have shorter session times, because you are increasing the dose to the therapeutic area where you're trying to get the light. And also because it actually contacts the body, you're getting the same dose every time, because the radiance of light falls off the distance from the body. And one of the main advantages, especially for someone like me that travels all the time, is that it's portable. You're not kind of stuck standing naked in your bedroom for half an hour. You can take it with you wherever you go. It means you can take it on the plane, you can take it to a hotel, but also just walking around the house. You're not kind of stuck to being in one area, which is a huge benefit.
And I can say,
I need this
That's right.
Good. And
I can say one thing, because obviously I'm using this now. So every day I bring it home, and we have a family. You know, my mom is here, and I have kids, and this thing is just being passed around. So the portability is not only for travel, to be honest. It's you know, my wife, she likes to have it in the sofa. My mom brings it to her place over there. Maybe Elsie. So just even at home, just to not having to be in one place, I think it's very, very.
The different color light has different effects. So red light has a different effect to the near infrared light. Red light works much more on the surface of the body. Near infrared light tends to penetrate a lot deeper. So it really depends on what you're trying to treat, the different kind of proportions of red to near infrared light that you need. With the FlexBeam, we have 3 settings. We have a surface, we have a combination, and we have a deep setting. So that means in just this one small device that Christian just had there, very small portable device, you can have 3 different options for treating different kinds of conditions, or, you know, if you're looking at performance, whatever you're trying to do, you have those 3 options, which again is a huge benefit to these other products that are on the market, is that you have that flexibility, both in, you know, logistical flexibility, but you have flexibility in what you're trying to use the therapy for. Yeah.
thank you, Sarah.
And you know, Julia, you can use it for it produces collagen. You know, you know that in the skin, so you get tighter skin.
And I will have a very beautiful face, very beautiful skin.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes. Yeah, so I actually use it for aftershave as well.
good.
So yeah, here's the thing, the FlexBeam on the bottom.
Christian, is FlexBeam a medical device? If yes, what regulatory challenges do you face?
Designed as according to the medical device regulation. It's called the ISO 13485, and in FDA in America is very similar. So the company that designed the product has to be medical device approved and certified, and we are. So Recharge is a medical device company. The product FlexBeam has been designed according to medical device regulative. On Indiegogo, due to, in Europe now, they're changing their medical device directive structure. So for us to be able to launch as a medical device ASAP in Europe is very, very difficult because of a changeover from an old system to a new system. In America, this is not a problem. So in America, we are FDA cleared, and when we start selling in March, it's all good. In Europe, it's a wellness device. So we have to be a little bit careful about making too many claims. There are a lot of claims we can make already, obviously, because of the technology that we use is very, very, it has been tested and it has been approved so many times, and there's so much science on this. So it's about, of course, I have to be careful so I don't say too much in interviews and regarding what it can do and cannot do. But for all state and purposes, this is a medical device from the manufacturer's point of view.
Okay, thanks for sharing some secrets with us. What is Recharge mission and long-term vision for your business?
Our mission, our formal mission, the one we have in our mission statement, but it took us quite a few months to get there. So I think that's a pretty honest, is that we want to recharge people's health. FlexBeam is our first product. There will be other products, and they are all in the same, you know, can fit in with the same mission statement that we want to recharge people's health. There are different ways of recharging people's health. There are voltages, you know, there's many ways to do it, but that's our mission and vision, is that people actually get to learn about this technology, that it actually exists, and you don't have to be a millionaire or go to, you know, stem cell. You can actually go and buy a device. Our mission is to recharge people's health, and during that, you know, make sure people learn about this technology.
Sarah, do you like this technology?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a total advocate of red light therapy. I've seen it myself many times. Say I'm very interested interested in maintaining my brain health. You know, that's top on my list. You know, I've seen a lot of people who have different focus for what they want to do with this. But the most interesting thing for me is it's non-invasive, non-toxic, and instead of a lot of different therapies where you're kind of giving the body like a toxic drug, or you might be doing something that, you know, in the long term you don't really want to do. In the long term, this actually increases your health. So to me, I can't really see how this isn't going to be the next medicine, because why wouldn't you use something that not only gets you better, but actually improves your long-term health at the same time? So yes, I really do think that red light therapy is the medicine of the future. And, you know, it does seem to be going that way. The research is escalating. There's more and more interesting data. So yeah, I'm really glad to be in at the start, you know, of this. It's super exciting for me. Yeah.
It is so cool when team excited by product. Thank you for this interview, and thank you for joining Biohacking Congress in London. I'm looking forward to meeting you there.
Thank you so much for inviting us to the Biohacking Congress, and I guess I see you there in not too many days, actually. So happy New Year, and until next time.
Yeah, it's very soon, and Sarah, also looking forward to meet you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to the event in London, and we'll see you there.
Join us in the future today. Discover new biohacks, try innovation devices, and learn trends in digital health and biotech.